Hey, okay, Black History Month story time 3. Stop calling people felons. Stop calling people cons. And to illustrate this, I have a story about a former client of mine. And he's a loving father. He works very hard. He's a very hard worker. At this point, single dad. Basically goes all out for his family. Really sweet, honorable, has integrity, everything, right? But when I met him, none of those things were on the sheet. When I met him, the only thing that I could see was felon, habitual offender, and things like that. So my when I met my client, I was in court and I was doing my thing. I was getting people out of jail and stuff like that. All of a sudden, there's a guy over there in the jury box waving me down. And I don't know if y'all ever been in the courtroom, criminal court. They put people who are incarcerated in pretrial over there in the jury box. So when I saw him, he had shackles on his arms and shackles on his feet. He waved me down, so I went over there. He said, "Hey, Miss Scruggs, I love everything you're doing, and I want to know, is it possible that you could take my case?" And I said, "Oh, tell me a little bit about yourself." And he said, "Well, I have a public defender right now, but I'm facing 15. I have a deal for 5 years with the public defender, but he's not really listening to me. I want help. I think that you can help me out." And I was looking in his eyes, and I saw something like, first of all, I hate, if anybody knows me, I hate seeing the hands and feet shackles. Like, it just really gets to me. I don't care how many times I see it. And then he's telling me his story. He's telling me things that's going on. And I was like, okay, like, I'm down for this. Just give me the rundown. So he told me that I could let you guys know. So essentially, he was arrested on a DUI. But because he was deemed a habitual offender, it was a felony and he was facing up to 15. So it was very enhanced. So they put the enhancements on there. And I don't know if y'all know anything about that, but when you call somebody a felon, a con, these things are not functional. These titles are not functional. It's really something to discriminate against people. I know a bunch of people know about the 3 strikes law. That's an example of that. So 3 strikes meant no matter, like, if you would have did the crime that was your 3rd strike the first time, you could have got out on probation, or you could have even got a slap on the wrist. But because they added the 3 strikes law, you could do 25 to life for something that was fairly minor. So that's just an example of what I'm talking about. So anyway, my client, just to sum it all up, back in the day, over 10 years ago, he had a few DUIs where he served time, where he had probation and everything. He was cleared. He hadn't had any DUIs in the last 10 plus years. What happened is, on New Year's Eve, he shares parenting time with the mother of his children, and his kids called him on New Year's Eve while he was at a party and said, "Mama just dropped us off. We're here. It's cold. We're scared." Of course, like any other loving father, he did not think. He just immediately got in the car and started driving towards them. He got pulled over, and he was telling them, "I need to get my kids. I need to get my kids. I need to get my kids." That's all he kept talking about. He passed all the field tests, but he did fail the breathalyzer test. To verify, the police even went to his house to see his kids and actually let his kids in. So this really did happen with my client. So I go to talk to his old attorney, the public defender. The public defender is laughing at me like, "Oh, you really think you can get a better deal? You think that your client is innocent? You're really idealistic." He was literally laughing in my face. Then I went to the prosecutor. The prosecutor is telling me, "Oh, you believe him? He's this." So they start giving me these titles, telling me how he is, how, he's a offender, he's this, he's that. They start reading off all of this stuff that spanned back over 10 years ago. I even went to the judge. I say, "Your Honor, my client just hired me." The judge, the prosecutor, and the other public defender prejudged my client off some stuff that happened over 10 years ago, and a happenstance, a situational issue that happened on New Year's. When I met my client, he had already spent 15 months in the county jail. 15 months in the county jail for a DUI because he did not take a plea deal. He said, they want me to take a plea deal. I do not want to take it, and I want to fight it. Because they wanted him to do no less than 5 years in prison, not probation. I ended up negotiating to get my client out on bail. When I got my client out on bail, the judge, the prosecutor, everybody told me, your client is going to offend again. Your client is going to get pulled over again. Your client is a criminal. Your client is a thug. Your client is a habitual offender. All of these things is what they told me about my client. I told them, no, my client is a father. My client is a family man. My client is a hard worker. I had to humanize my client because if I don't humanize my client, they'll demonize my client. And this happens specifically when it comes to Black people who are subjected to the criminal justice system. So my client got out on bail, and my client did flying colors on bail. I negotiated an even better deal because we came to court every single time. He was always early. He always had a job. He always paid his fines. He always paid his fees. They even laughed and joked that my client wouldn't be able to pay my legal fees. My client had a payment plan that we offer all of our people, and he paid all of his fees in full far before. So this is just an illustration to show that calling people a felon, calling people a con, calling people habitual offenders are all oppressive terms, and they do not have a functional reason in society except for discrimination, except on Black people. And I've seen that same judge, that same prosecutor read the rights of a white offender and say he made a mistake. He's a great man. He's awesome. He's a family man. He works hard. And so these are the key things that people have to pay attention to. We have to change our language. I know that they told us that he's called this and they're called that. No, these people are called people. They are in a situation right now, and them being in that situation right now does not mean that that's who they are for the rest of their life. They should not be they should not be dehumanized, and they should not be deemed for the rest of their life something just because they did one thing. So that's another tip that y'all can do today. Stop using those terms. Always see the human side of people, because we are all human. We all bleed. Whether or not the criminal justice system sees it or not, we do. So it's on us to do this, because we can't wait for the government to do it. We can't wait for prosecutors to do it and judges to do it. We have to do it. So yeah, I'm going to post this on my page. Thank y'all so much for watching. This is day 3. Yeah, day 3. We're going to do this for 28 days. Again, I am attorney Natasha Scruggs. If you would like to reach out to me, please click the link in my bio, and you can send me an email, or you can check me out on Instagram, Twitter. You can check out my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or anything like that. So see you guys later. Have a great day.